They say history moves in cycles, that empires rise and empires fall, but in the silence between those falls, something stirs, a whisper, a warning, call, and on a quiet night, across the Atlantic, a voice cut through the static of centuries, the voice of a man standing tall in the heart of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré, not a politician in a way the West would recognize, not a polished diplomat in tailored suits, but a soldier of conviction, a leader forged in fire, a man who, in the eyes of many, carries the weight of an entire continent's yearning. And what he said was not meant only for his people. It was not meant only for his soldiers, his neighbors, or his countrymen. It was meant for you, for black Americans, boss. A low swell of strings. He said, the chains may have broken, but the walls remain. The struggle may look different, but the war has not ended. And those of us who carry Africa in our blood, we are not strangers to you. We are not distant. We are your reflection, and if you forget that, they win. Silence. Breath. The narration slows, lowers, grows heavy. This is that message to call across time, across oceans, call to remember who you are and to decide what you will become. The year was tense, the ground shifting beneath millions, whispers of collapse, of decline, of betrayal by leaders who looked like saviors until their masks cracked. But far away in Burkina Faso, the world's spotlight flickered onto a man whose words shook the marble halls of power. Traore didn't speak with the practiced charm of Western elites. Spoke like someone with nothing left to lose, someone staring straight into the eyes of history and daring it to blink first. Our people have been stolen, he said. Our resources stripped, our futures pawned. But no more. Not while I breathe. And the room went silent, not because his words were radical, but because deep down every man in that room knew he was right. Yet his message did not stop at Africa's borders. It leapt across oceans, carried on frequencies that reached ears in Chicago, in Harlem, in Atlanta, in Oakland. It reached ears that had long grown tired of speeches, ears that had long grown weary of broken promises, ears that had forgotten the sound of their own power. And to them Traore's voice was not foreign. It was familiar, like a song remembered in childhood, a drumbeat that had always been there, buried under noise. He was saying, remember who you are. He was saying, they want you divided, scattered, small. He was saying, you are not alone, but here's the truth. Messages like this are dangerous, not to the people, but to the system, because the system survives on forgetting Africa, forgetting roots, forgetting the rivers of blood that carried people across oceans in chains. The system needs black Americans to believe they are separate, that their struggle is isolated, that their pain is uniquely theirs to bear. Because if they remembered, if they connected, if they recognized that their story is part of a greater whole, then the walls would tremble. And so when Traore's message came, it collided with forces determined to drown it: media silence, distraction, misinformation, 1,000 shiny objects thrown into the air to pull eyes away. But still, the word spread. In barbershops, in late night conversations on stoops, in whispered debates on campuses, on corners where young men wrestled with the weight of a world designed against them. Is he talking to us? One asked. Why would he care about us? Said another, and then silence. Because deep down the answer was obvious. They care because blood remembers. He cared because chains may stretch across oceans, but they do not erase identity. He cared because the same forces stripping Africa of its minerals were the same forces poisoning American neighborhoods with despair. And if you connected those dots, if you saw the bigger picture, the illusion shattered. Music rises, drums begin to pulse faintly. But not everyone wanted that picture seen. There were those who called Traore a tyrant, a radical, a dangerous man. They said he was reckless. They said he was naive. But listen closely to his words, and you'll hear something the powerful fear most. Not anger, not revenge, but unity. Because unity, once lit, spreads like wildfire. Picture this at a single image on a screen: a soldier, not dressed in silk, not backed by billion-dollar campaigns, but standing beneath the African sun, his voice carried not by money, but by truth. And in that moment, to millions of black Americans, it was like hearing a message meant only for them. You are not powerless, he said. They want you to believe you are. They want you to forget the power in your blood. But you are descendants of builders, not of warriors, not people who did not bow, even when chained. His words hit like thunder, because here was a man half a world away, saying what leaders at home would not dare whisper, and in kitchens, in living rooms, in cars stuck in traffic, people leaned in. He was not talking about policy. He was talking about identity. He was talking about the memory of something buried but never erased. And for some, it was a spark that turned into questions. What had happened if black Americans saw themselves not as fractured communities, but as one nation? Scattered but united, what would happen if they reconnected to Africa not as tourists, but as family? What would happen if they realized their struggle was not theirs alone, but part of a global fight for dignity? The answer was simple. Everything would change, because power is not just money, power is memory, power is unity, power is identity. And if Black America remembered who it was, the system would tremble. The chains would rust, and history would turn to a voice carried across oceans like prophecy, but prophecy means nothing unless it is heard, unless it is lived. And so the question remains, what will you do with this message? Will you let it fade, another forgotten speech, another moment drowned in noise? Or will you let it burn inside you like a torch passed across generations? Because this was not just about Africa, not just about Burkina Faso, not just about one soldier. It was about you. We are not free until you are free, Traore said. We are not whole until you are whole. And if we walk apart, we fall. But if we walk together, there is nothing they can do to stop us. Unity is not easy, that it is not simple, that it requires sacrifice, that it requires faith, that it requires looking in the mirror and seeing more than your own reflection. But history does not wait, and the storm is already here. So now, you must choose. Do you answer the call, or do you let silence win? Because if there is one truth to carry from this night, it is this: you are not powerless, you are not alone. And the world is waiting for you to remember. The message has been delivered, the rest is up to you.